Tony Peterson here for top 5 rock lists. I'm out taking a little walk today out near the pond, and then I'm going to be heading back home. Today I want to talk about my top 5 favorite trio rocks in rock, threesomes, bands with 3 guys as the main core of the band. Not a lot of them, surprisingly, but my top 5 is real solid. Hopefully this wind isn't getting too crazy on you. Once again, we're still out here during the pandemic. It's July of 2020, and things are still a little shaky as far as what's going to be happening this fall regarding school and football and what have you. So without further ado, let's get started on my number 5 trio in my top 5 rock trios list. Number 5 for me is Green Day. I've seen them a couple times live, and they're certainly not a trio when you see them live. They've got a lot of help up on stage, but recording and in the early days, I believe that they were strictly a trio, and I especially like the American Idiot album. The Dookie album is what introduced me to them, as it was a lot of people. As far as seeing them live, the first time I saw them, it was easily in the top 10, in my top 10 favorite concerts of all time. And, maybe even maybe just right outside the top 5 or right in the top 5, possibly. A lot of energy. As far as the American Idiot album goes, that album, at a time when people were just singing about themselves, Billy Joe Armstrong was, kind of singing about political injustices and things like that, and it's something you really don't see enough of in art and music today. And I think that that's part of the reason why society's going crazy. They don't have an outlet. So that's my number 5 is Green Day. Number 4 on my list is ZZ Top, a little old band from Texas. They're famous for being a trio. I've also seen them live, and they basically do it as a trio live when I saw them. Billy Gibbons is probably the main cog in that band, but really solid. What they've been doing for 50 years is solid. Even my 27-year-old son loves them, and is one of his favorite bands. So ZZ Top, I think that's a solid choice. Number 3 on my list is The Police. If you looked at some of my other videos, I guess you know that The Police are one of my favorite bands in the 80s. And I feel like they've probably did things different than, they're very unique. With their almost Caribbean style and rock combo. I think Sting is a great songwriter, lyrically and musically, and I love The Police. Let's see, my favorite Police album. Probably that second one. The first 2 are great. Probably that second one is my favorite Police album. Okay, number 2 on my list is Rush. I just think those guys are a bunch of magicians. You know, they talk about Robert Johnson selling his soul to the devil to be as good as he was. I don't know who they sold their soul to be that musically gifted, but Rush is, each one of those guys is a maestro. You know, I mean, they're maestros. They very complicated, very complex stuff that they've been able to pull off with three guys. You know, you see Geddy Lee up there sometimes with his bass around his neck and playing the keyboards with his feet at the same time and singing. And it's all very complex stuff. So incredible. I love me some Rush. Number one on my list, Nirvana. I know they only put out a couple of albums that really made an impact on anybody, but they changed the world. They changed the direction of music. You know, I don't think I've ever seen a band that incorporated really hard rock and melodies the same way that they did. You know, it would have been interesting to see how they would have developed over the years, what would have happened had Kurt Cobain lived. But you know, although I probably listen to a lot of these other bands more often than I do Nirvana, when I listen to Nirvana, it always brings me back to that time when, you know, they kind of flipped my world upside down. And so I'm going to leave them at number one. Oh, somebody's spinning out over there. So I'm going to leave them at number one. So there's my list. Agree, disagree. I welcome the discussion. As long as your comments are polite, I would appreciate it. So don't forget to subscribe and like the video. And I will see you next time. This is Tony Peterson signing out for Top 5 Rock Lists.